Every preseason brings hope, but this one is different. There are real reasons to believe this team is finally on the right track. Between major changes behind the scenes and a promising young core, the pieces of the puzzle are starting to fall into place. Nothing is set in stone yet, of course, but for the first time in a long while, the excitement about the future is palpable. Let's take a look at why so many fans have every reason to believe this season could mark the start of an exceptional journey. But first, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss a single update. Let's go. The biggest reason Browns fans should be excited about the 2026 season starts with one man, and that is Todd Monken. This is not just another coaching change or another off-season headline that will be forgotten once training camp begins. This is a move that has the potential to completely reshape how Cleveland plays football on offense. Monken arrives with 37 years of coaching experience, and more importantly, he has consistently proven that he knows how to maximize the talent available to him, instead of forcing players into a rigid system. That is exactly what this Browns team has been missing. Look at what he accomplished during his time with the Baltimore Ravens. Over the last 3 seasons, Baltimore finished at or near the top of the league in virtually every important offensive category. They led the NFL in rushing yards, ranked 2nd in total offense, 3rd in points per game, 4th in rushing touchdowns, and 5th in receiving touchdowns. Those numbers are not the result of luck. They are the product of an offensive coordinator capable of building creative game plans while adapting to the strengths of his players. That flexibility may be the most encouraging part for Cleveland fans. Kirby Smart praised Monken for designing game plans around his players rather than asking his players to fit into one predetermined philosophy. That mindset helped Georgia win back-to-back national championships, and it also allowed Monken to develop quarterbacks with completely different styles. Whether it was Stetson Bennett at Georgia, Jameis Winston, Ryan Fitzpatrick, or Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, Monken consistently found ways to put each quarterback in situations where they could succeed. That should immediately make Browns fans think about the current roster. Cleveland has several young offensive weapons who are still developing, including Quinshawn Judkins, Harold Fannin Jr., Isaiah Bond, and others who have barely scratched the surface of their potential. Instead of asking them to fit into a stale offensive structure, Monken has a history of creating opportunities that highlight exactly what each player does best. If that philosophy carries over to Cleveland, this offense could look dramatically different from what fans have watched over the past few seasons. The respect Monken has earned around football only reinforces that optimism. John Harbaugh described him as an outstanding coach whose impact on Baltimore was invaluable, and expressed confidence that he would succeed in Cleveland. Kirby Smart echoed those thoughts, emphasizing Monken's professionalism, creativity, and ability to develop quarterbacks. Those endorsements come from 2 of the most respected coaches in football, and they speak volumes about what Cleveland is adding to its coaching staff. There is another reason this offseason feels different. The Browns appear to have continued building through the draft. Multiple analysts praised Cleveland's 2026 draft class, with several ranking it among the very best in the NFL. Addressing offensive tackle and wide receiver early demonstrated a clear understanding of the team's biggest needs. Players like Spencer Fano, Emmanuel McNeil, and the other early selections provide hope that Cleveland is finally building a stronger foundation around its young core, rather than simply chasing short-term fixes. That young core is another major reason for optimism. Players such as Harold Fannin Jr., Quinshawn Judkins, Mason Graham, Carson Schwessinger, Jared Verse, and several members of the newest draft class give this roster something Browns fans have wanted for years: talented players who are still developing and have plenty of room to improve. Many of them have already shown flashes of becoming impact contributors despite their age, suggesting Cleveland may finally be assembling a nucleus capable of competing for years instead of just one season. For the first time in a while, there is a legitimate argument that the Browns are building something with a long-term vision instead of searching for temporary answers. The coaching philosophy appears different. The young talent is growing, and the front office has invested heavily in positions that desperately needed attention. Those pieces alone give Browns fans several reasons to believe that this offseason could eventually be remembered as a turning point for the franchise. What do you think is the biggest reason for Browns fans to be optimistic about the 2026 season? Todd Monken's arrival, the outstanding young talent, or the draft class that Cleveland has put together? Another factor that should not be overlooked is the mentality surrounding this football team. Throughout the offseason, reports have highlighted players choosing to work together instead of simply enjoying their time away from the facility. Veterans and young players have continued training, running routes, and building chemistry well before training camp officially begins. That kind of commitment does not guarantee wins, but it does reveal something important about the mindset inside the locker room. There is a sense that this roster understands the opportunity in front of them and knows the expectations have changed. Several players have every reason to play with a chip on their shoulder. Jerry Jeudy has heard the criticism after an inconsistent season. Deshaun Watson knows every performance will be heavily scrutinized. Shedeur Sanders enters the year carrying enormous expectations after becoming one of the most talked-about young quarterbacks in football. Instead of avoiding the spotlight, this group appears determined to embrace it. Sometimes that hunger becomes the difference between a team that simply has talent and one that actually reaches its potential. Then there is the quarterback situation itself, which remains the biggest storyline entering the season. While there will continue to be debate about who should ultimately lead this offense, there is no denying that Shedeur Sanders brings excitement to the organization. Pressure has followed him throughout his football career, and he has repeatedly shown confidence in the biggest moments. Even during difficult stretches, he demonstrated the ability to deliver explosive plays and late-game drives when his team needed them most. That is why Todd Monken's arrival feels even more significant. If there is a coach capable of putting a young quarterback in position to succeed by designing an offense around his strengths instead of limiting him, Monken has already shown he can do exactly that. His history with quarterbacks of different playing styles suggests Cleveland will not simply force one approach. Instead, the offense can evolve based on who earns the job and what gives the Browns the best chance to win. The encouraging part is that Sanders would not have to carry the entire franchise on his shoulders. Cleveland has invested in young playmakers across the roster. Quinshon Judkins gives the offense another weapon capable of creating explosive plays. Harold Fannin Jr. continues developing into a dangerous receiving option. Isaiah Bond brings speed that can stretch defenses vertically. The additions along the offensive line are designed to provide more stability up front, allowing whoever starts at quarterback to operate with greater confidence. Defensively, the Browns also possess young talent that can keep the unit competitive. Players like Jared Verse have already established themselves as impact contributors while still being incredibly young. Having proven production from players who are only entering the early stages of their careers gives Cleveland a foundation that many rebuilding teams simply do not have. As these players continue improving together, the roster becomes more balanced on both sides of the football. Perhaps the biggest reason for hope is not one individual player or one draft class. It is the possibility that all of these pieces are finally coming together at the same time. A respected offensive coach arrives with a proven track record. The front office continues adding young talent through strong drafts. The locker room appears motivated, competitive, and eager to prove doubters wrong. Most importantly, the organization may finally have enough pieces in place that solving the quarterback position unlocks everything else. If Shedeur Sanders develops into the franchise quarterback Cleveland has been searching for, the outlook changes dramatically. Finding that answer while surrounding him with one of the league's youngest and most promising supporting casts would give the Browns the flexibility to compete for years rather than chasing a single playoff appearance. That is why so many fans view this season as more than just another campaign. It could represent the beginning of a completely different era for the franchise. There are still questions that only the regular season can answer. Can the offensive line take the next step? Will the rookie class make an immediate impact? Can the young playmakers continue their development? And above all, who will seize control of the quarterback position? Those answers will ultimately determine how far Cleveland can go. But unlike previous off-seasons, there are legitimate football reasons to believe this team is moving in the right direction. The excitement surrounding the Browns is no longer built only on hope. It is supported by a new coaching philosophy, an impressive collection of young talent, a highly regarded draft class, and a roster full of players determined to prove themselves. Browns fans have waited a long time to see a foundation like this come together, and now the opportunity is finally here. The only thing left is to see whether this team can turn that potential into victories once the season begins. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and turn on notifications so you never miss another Browns update. And before you go, click on the video that's on your screen right now for more exclusive Cleveland Browns coverage, because that's where you'll always find the latest Browns news and updates first.